Satoru freaking Gojo is not dead. I have the biggest dose of copium for Gojo fans, as his death has left many in shock. The fans in Japan even gave Gojo a memorial. But we are here to tell you, he may still be alive. What seals the deal is that we also have to remember that Yuji's first death is literally having him dead with no heart after Sukuna ripped it out, and yet he was brought back. The way Sukuna did this was by securing Yuji's soul into his innate domain. Hours or even a day later, he was able to use RCT and bring his heart back, and then placed his soul into his body. Both Gojo and Shoko observed the miracle revival, so to reapply this technique is a great possibility, especially with Yuji's new soul swap technique. Gojo is also just as talented as Sukuna, so he would be able to copy any technique if he put all his concentration into it, just like he did to learn reverse curse technique in the first place. Maki also experienced a moment where her soul converged in with Mai's innate domain before she sacrificed herself. So the method of revival is all here, and this brings us back to why this thematically fits into Gojo's story arc. In chapter 74, Gojo claims that he gave up on fighting and instead focused everything onto RCT, something he was never able to do before. But right on the verge of death, he understood the core of curse energy. However, since we have established the soul and body are linked together, Gojo should be able to learn the idea of maintaining his soul, as Sukuna himself learned from Kenjaku to become immortal via splitting his 20-fold cursed objects. Even Mahito would heal himself via changing the shape of his soul, which Itadori can see the contours of and damages his opponents via the soul. Gojo going north should be able to. Let's establish how this can be possible. After all, his body has been sliced into two. In chapter 37, we learn that curse energy is made in the gut before it can circulate throughout the body. However, to heal themselves, they need to use reverse curse technique and produce positive energy from the negative. This process, as explained in chapter 188, happens in the brain. Gojo is so efficient in using RCT that his brain is always actively producing positive energy and is fresh at all times. Hence, how Gojo was able to quickly heal himself against Sukuna's domain expansion, even though it was cutting him several hundred times a second. A piece of evidence is Hakari's fight with Kashimo. Hakari achieved unlimited RCT, which made him immortal. However, Kashimo states that even though energy comes from the gut, you use your head to direct RCT. Therefore, he tries to aim for Hakari's head to get rid of his immortal status. We clearly see Gojo's head is intact. And right before Gojo was sliced up, in chapter 235, Kusakabe pointed out how the consecutive use of Black Flash regained Gojo's output for RCT, which will help him heal rapidly due to the already accumulated positive energy. This is actually a very important point, as any good writer would follow the narrative principle of Chekhov's gun, which is that one must never place a loaded rifle on stage if it isn't going to go off. It's wrong to make promises you don't mean to keep to readers. This means Kusakabe's statement has to hold some meaning, otherwise, you know, Gege trolled us with copium. But can Gojo even heal from a space-time fabric cleave from Sukuna? Well, yes, he can, as shown in chapter 234, when Mahoraga for the first time adapted this cleave and sliced Gojo's right arm off. Not too long after, Gojo RCT'd back to normal. Not to mention, in his fight against Toji, he stated the reason he came back alive is because he did not aim for the head. It was still intact for him to learn RCT at that very moment. But for the sake of arguments, let's say Gojo doesn't have enough energy to heal his entire bottom half, especially since his shirt is the strongest in the whole verse and he would be naked. Gege doesn't want to please the bad girls.
Pause.
So this brings us to another plot device of how Gojo can be brought back. Shoko and Yuta. These two are the only ones capable of applying RCT to heal few others, and they aren't too far away, especially since Hakari and Kashimo joined the fight within a few seconds. And Mei's brother, Ui also I can't pronounce his name, and he's a weirdo. I don't know. But anyways, he has the ability to teleport. Therefore, it's not an impossible task to get Gojo and heal him. Now, to enjoy more Pig Fiction, why not understand Gojo's loneliness in the first place, and what was his biggest mistake that made him lose against Sukuna?